What is home birth to you?
Well, in my particular case, it was just a sacred moment. It was, and I quote this every time I talk about it. It was the time where I felt the Father the most vividly next to me.
We want to say thank you for joining us on today, and welcome to Yahudah Living. This is our home birth series, and during this series, we're going to be spending a lot of time talking with several families, hearing about their home birth journey, talking about midwives. We're going to be talking to doulas. We're going to be talking to registered nurses about the timely discussion of home birth. Birthing centers versus a hospital birth. And on today, we have joining us is the Founes Family, and they're going to be sharing with us about their journey. Now, they have a daughter. I'll talk about that journey with their daughter, but we have a baby in the oven on today that's due in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
Hallelujah. Well, take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start with Francia. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Shalom. My name is Francia. I'm 32 years old. I'm a housewife right now. I am from Venezuela and currently living in Missouri.
Awesome. Awesome. And Joseph, you?
I was born in New York, raised in Jersey. We recently just moved to Missouri. I'm also 32. And we have one, like you said, one baby and one on the way. So we're excited.
Outstanding. Well, and again, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Yahudah Living. And thank you for joining us. Now, in the United States, approximately 35,000 0.9% of births occur in the home, some planned and some unplanned. We have more men and women getting certified as midwives and doulas and birth practitioners. And while home birth has been happening for years, I know for myself, I didn't think about it when I had my daughter or when my daughter had her children. Never thought about it, but it had been going on for years. What do you believe is causing the uptick of people considering home birth?
Honestly, I think it's the mistrust they have in the medical system. Okay. Because unfortunately, it helps a lot of people, but it has failed a lot more people, especially in the recent years. So I can see the fear of going in a place where in a situation where you're so vulnerable and being violated, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. What about you, Joseph?
Same. I mean, it's just the government has their own set of rules that typically, for the most part, don't abide by Abba's laws, Mm-hmm. So whether it be, taking jabs and certain mandates that they're pushing now, home birth should be natural. It is natural. And a doctor should only intervene if necessary, mm-hmm. So a lot of people are waking up 2020, with a lot of stuff that they were pushing. So praise God for that. There's always a silver lining somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me this, you mentioned faith a little bit. How much of your faith has propelled your decision for home birth?
Well, to be absolutely fair, every step that we take requires faith. Mm-hmm. If you're going to a hospital, it requires faith. If you're going to, have your baby with a midwife, it requires faith. And if you're going to have it by yourself, it also requires faith. It's just a different kind. It's just a different approach. But by all means, you just need the works. You need to be educated first before taking a leap of faith. So everything has a spiritual component to it. I don't condemn people for choosing hospitals, but I encourage all of them to just be educated and know what's going on in their bodies, and not give the other people power, not even a midwife in your own home.
That's good. That's important. Anything to share with that on that?
I just agree. It should be an intimate moment with the father and mother, and whatever decision you make, have it be led by the father.
Yeah. Awesome. Now you are expecting in 2 weeks your second baby. And I know that you're busy. And again, thank you again for carving out the time to spend with us on today. Eliana is your first baby. Now, tell me about that experience. Was she a home birth as well? And if not, what was the reason why?
Well, when I found out that I was pregnant, I had this sister who I met through Instagram, social media, and she had been posted her journey on her own assisted birth. And at first I thought she was crazy.
Okay.
I thought, like, what is this woman thinking? But when I found out that I was pregnant, I felt absolutely led to reach out to her and just ask her about her experience, because I didn't feel like Abba was telling me to go to a hospital, but I didn't know anything about anything. And she was kind enough to share her experience with me. She shared so much resources, a lot of books, a lot of videos, documentaries. And I educated myself throughout my pregnancy, and I felt like that was the thing that Abba wanted me to do. And I feel it's a big part of my service to Yahuah's people, to encourage them to know that they can do it by themselves. It's biblical. Even it is recorded in Exodus that the Hebrew women were having babies on their own. So exactly. I felt like it was, I mean, in a spiritual sense, empowering, not like the world calls empowering right now. It was empowering to the glory of the Father.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I love how you reached out and to the community, and sister was able to share with you information to help you, guide you to that decision that you and Joseph took. So was your first baby, was she home birthed
yes,
as well?
Yeah, unassisted birth, unassisted prenatal care.
Assisted
really?
By the father.
Yeah.
Really? So tell us a little bit about that. So when you talk about the prenatal care, that, when you talk to a doctor, that's really important to seeing how the baby is growing and progressing through the process, because we can't see. So how do you process through the prenatal process of when you're considering home birth?
Well, there was this one book that I always recommend people considering home birth. It's called The Unassisted Baby, and it has a ton of medical studies that basically, lets you know that your instincts are above what the medical industry can say. I'm not disregarding medical care, but there's a lot of things that you as a mother know.
Wow.
And there's a lot of interventions that are absolutely unnecessary and just increase the risk of infection, of all sorts of issues during your pregnancy, of stress. Ultrasound is one of the things that is not even proven to be necessary or even helpful at all. So I will recommend mothers to just read as much as they can of every single intervention that they're telling them that are necessary. My baby came out happy, healthy, thriving, and that gave me the confidence that I was doing the right thing.
Wow, that's beautiful. And how you shared, research is key to making these decisions, because
Yes.
we're told so much, and so much that we need to know is in the books. And if we don't read, then we miss those opportunities. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I know that home birth is having a baby at home. Okay, we know that. Okay. But let me ask each of you, what is home birth to you?
Well, in my particular case, it was just a sacred moment. It was, and I quote this every time I talk about it. It was the time where I felt the Father the most vividly next to me. Like his Ruach is speaking loud and clear. And it was just a private moment that anybody can take away. Like, that's gonna be seared in my memory forever. And I'm so happy that he allowed me to live that and just enjoy the privacy of that moment. It was just a sacred, intimate place. It was a sanctuary where, you know, a offering was made to him, because we offer our children to him.
That's beautiful. What about you, Joseph? What is it to you? We know what it is, but what is it to you?
Yeah, she hit it right on the money. It's something that you don't forget, especially the first time, the first baby. You know, it was almost surreal. I just remember, you know, we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl.
Okay.
And when I first held her, I didn't even look down. I was so in shock, you know, and the baby, you know, some people say it looked beautiful. She looked like an alien, you know, fresh out the womb. She was so purple, and it was just, you never forget something like that. And, you know, you don't want doctors or whoever to take that special moment away from the parents.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And so many, what you shared, so many will never, ever be able to speak that. I couldn't speak it.
Yeah.
My daughter couldn't speak it. Wow, that is so intimate and so beautiful. When you said to your family, we're having a home birth.
Yeah.
We're not going to the hospital. We're going to have it at home. What did your family say?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
But that's why we're here. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Who is your mother? Who is your brother?
Yeah.
Right?
It was hard. It was
it?
difficult to you know, make our points come across and sound sane to people, because, you know, especially on my side of the family, they are what I call doctor worshippers. You know, they truly put doctors above a lot of things. So when I told my mom that I was considering having a home birth, she freaked out, absolutely freaked out. And I just realized, I pray on it a lot, and I believe that one of the things that you need to take into account is just be as private as you can. This is between you, your husband, and obviously the father. You don't need anyone else. You don't need any opinions, you know. And again, like I said, this is between you and the father. Just take it to him. If you feel led to go to a midwife, then that's you and the father. If you feel led to go to the hospital, that's between you and the father. But sometimes sharing our plans can be counterproductive. And that was, you know, that was the case for us. We realized that it wasn't going to be supported. So we just keep it to ourselves for a long time. And just, you know, every time we were asked, when was the baby due? And at some point, you know, we were a little vague, just on purpose to.
Eventually it'll come out.
Yeah, and it worked perfectly. Praise yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I bet how challenging that is. And I love how you said some things is just personal. Some things are just personal and not everything. And I hope the parents who will hear this will recognize, hopefully they hear it sooner than later, but will recognize some things you don't need to tell everybody, because it's not a decision that everyone makes. It's a decision that you make together. And that's what you all did. So thank you so much for sharing that. Anything else you want to share from your side of the family too, Joseph?
You know what's funny? I technically never mentioned anything about home birth to my mom. We just kind of left it, like she said, vague. And now, knowing that we had that first home birth, she's open and accepting to the second one that we're about to have.
Okay.
So, I mean, take it to the Father. You know what I'm saying? If you want to share, we personally believe if it's not necessary, why, you don't have to. It's between you, the husband or the wife, and the Father.
Yeah. Awesome. So they're excited about the home birth of the second baby, right?
I wouldn't say excited, but they're accepting. They're accepting.
I was like, okay, it went okay with the first one. We're going to accept the second one. All right. So sounds great. Thank you for sharing that. So let's talk through the birthing plan. We talked about your first baby. And so now we have our second baby. What was the plan like? Did you follow the same process as the first? Did you change up the process because of some things that you learned? Talk to me about the differences between the first home birth and the second journey to home birth.
Honestly, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything like that, but the second one is just easier. It's just like I've been there, done that, and you feel more relaxed. What I did try to improve was my nutrition. And because when I was pregnant the first time, I was kind of scared of a lot of the things that are actually good for you when you're pregnant. For instance, raw milk. That's something that I didn't know. And this second time, I'm more relaxed. I'm less worried. I think I feel more secure. The first time, it was amazing. It was great. It was smooth, but you don't know what to expect. Now it's just okay. I can see myself giving birth here. I'm gonna set this up. There's a lot of things that you actually don't need. Birth? It's simple. It's very raw. It's very. It's the most. I don't want to say. Yeah, it's the most raw moment of your life. Like you just need your body and your baby, and it will come out.
Wow.
And it's gonna be beautiful.
Wow.
You just need a few wee pads, a few blankets, maybe a few towels or pillows, and you're good to go.
Wow. Make it sound so easy. That's awesome. That was the thing I was going to ask you also. So supported or unsupported for you all?
What do you mean by that?
Supported home birth or unsupported? Somebody's going to be there with you, or is it just going to be you all?
Oh, it's just us.
Just you two. Okay. So no midwife, no doula, no birth practitioner.
No.
Us and Abba.
Okay. That's that. Okay. Sounds great. So you talked about a little bit some of that process, that setup. Talk to me about the setup again. What does the scene look like? So let's say you have 2 weeks left, right? We have 2 weeks left. So we have when we're about a week out, when we're about 3 days out. Walk us through that process.
Well, one of the things that I learned from the first one is that it's very unpredictable.
Okay.
You know, so with my first one, I had a setup in my head. I surrounded the room with scripture. I put out some like dim lights. It was like beautiful, but I ended up giving birth in the bathroom because that's where I felt more comfortable. So it is what it is. You just gotta like be prepared and just be like, okay, wherever the Father wants me to, because like scripture says, you make the plans, but he guides the steps. Yeah. So yes, I think about a couple of places in the house that I can give birth, but at the end of the day, he's the one guiding me. So I ended up not even using my original setup. So okay. I'm more relaxed this time because I know it can happen anywhere, where I feel comfortable.
Okay,
awesome.
It
looks cool though. We can send you pictures. It looks amazing, even though she didn't use it, but it was a cool setup.
All right, had the pool set up. So the plan is to have the pool set up and then just follow Yah in whichever direction. What's the plan?
I said a cool setup, like cool, no pool. Cool setup, like COOL.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just like she said, just adapt to whatever situation, arises. Be ready. You know what I'm saying? We're probably going to have it in the bathroom just because she felt more comfortable. And where we are now, the bathroom's a little bigger. So it's
good.
Better, set up the wee pads, like she mentioned, shower curtains. We have the towels, the welcome baby towels. We have the stuff ready to, we actually didn't cut the umbilical cord. We burned it just because it was less messy.
Okay.
And we have like some cardboard, some aluminum foil so it doesn't burn the baby. We had the wax candles so it's not toxic when it burns. We kind of let the umbilical cord like pulsate, like we don't do it right away like the hospital does. They chop it up, we let it do its thing, and then like an hour after we detach it. And then we even have what is that powder called for the umbilical cord?
It's some mix of frankincense and myrrh actually that dries up the umbilical cord.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, awesome. And that's good that you mentioned that. Did you do anything with the umbilical cord? You still have it? What did you do? We said, Joseph said no.
There's life in the blood. So a lot of people, they say to eat it and certain, like it's nutritious. To each his own. I believe there's life in the blood. So we stayed away from that. And it's just some sorts of like witchcraft to it. I don't know. To be honest, we just got rid of it.
It fulfilled its purpose. So when it's done, it was done.
It's done.
That was what we felt led to do.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about an emergency shift plan? Are you all thinking about that in the event something goes astray?
Of course, there's always risk. Mm-hmm. So you want to keep in mind certain signals to know that, okay, this is time to go. We need to go to a hospital, shock, hemorrhage, maybe not breathing properly.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, those cases are rare. But we do live near a hospital and we are good to go in case that happens. Okay. We're not going to become, prideful and be like, oh, if something goes wrong, we will just stick with it. No. The principle of life is above everything.
The time and the place.
Good. Well, that sounds awesome. So with your first baby, home birth, placenta, where the baby dwelled for 9 months, was there anything that you did with the placenta after the birth? And if not, are you planning anything with the placenta after the birth of your second child?
Well, with the first baby, we did our research and we didn't find anything that it was scripturally based
Okay.
that we could do with the placenta. So again, the same with the umbilical cord, we just got rid of it.
Okay.
We seal it pretty good and just toss it because again, it's an organ that fulfill its purpose, and when the baby's out and there's no more stem cells going through the baby, then the placenta is just useless. And again, like my husband said, there's a lot of mysticism, in lack of a better word, around the placenta, so we just stay away from all that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I love that. It fulfilled its purpose, and the joy of birth, the joy of life has come forth, and so it's done. I like that. That's beautiful. So, new baby. Now that means that we'll have a part 2 because we want to hear the whole journey. So after down the road, when things get settled and you all are comfortable, we would love to have you to come back to close the loop on the complete birth of your second baby. Now, do we have a name? Do we know if we're having a boy? Do we know if we're having a girl?
No, we kept it. We have kept it as a surprise so far. And it's more amazing that way, just like unwrapping a gift.
And I will look down this time.
Okay, look down and find it so you see your baby, okay? Yeah. Know what you're having. That sounds awesome. So that is, wow. Home delivery, no doctors, no midwives, no doula, and you get the ultimate surprise, what the Father birthed inside of you.
Yeah.
What he birthed inside of you. That is outstanding. So let's talk about, breastfeeding, and then we're going to swivel chair over to postpartum depression. What does that look like? So did you have the opportunity to complete breastfeeding during your first pregnancy? And is that what you're planning with the your second baby?
Well, I actually had issues with my milk supply, and that's one of the things that I also learned from the first experience. Okay. That it actually, milk supply doesn't happen to every mom. That it can be something very, very difficult, and it was for me. Okay. So I attempted to breastfeed the baby for the first couple of months, and it wasn't happening. So Father led us to all natural formula. Okay. Based on raw milk. I know that's very controversial for a lot of people, but it was amazing. I personally believe that it saves our baby's life. So the second time around, I'm praying hard for the Father to allow me to breastfeed the baby, but if not, we'll do that again.
Okay, that's good. And I like that, because most often it works, but I love the fact that it didn't work, but love the fact that you were honest, and open to share, because someone that's going to look at this video in the weeks or years to come is going to have that same experience, but you're going to give them the peace that it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And also I want to add that that actually did cause me to be extremely sad, and because you feel like you fail as a mom for not being able to breastfeed, but as long as your baby is nurtured and is eating, you're doing your best, you're a mom. So yeah,
yeah, and that's another thing that I'd like to add. We were first-time parents, so we never, breastfed. We never knew, how many ounces or whatever. So everything was new to us, and we thought, that the baby was being fed through her breast, and it wasn't until we actually pumped, and we saw that no milk was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Sister Abby let us borrow, or she gave us a pump, and we're like, wait a minute, there's no milk coming out of this. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean that the baby is not being fed? So sure enough, we Googled some stuff, and we came across it's Weston A. Price.
Yeah.
And like she said, that was a blessing that we feel like saved that baby's life. You can see her. Well, we'll show her later, but she has fat cheeks now. You know what I'm saying? She's so thick, and it's just amazing, because looking at the old pictures from her, it was like, man, like she said, it makes you kind of not depressed, but just like, I don't know what's the proper word, but anyway, it's an experience that we can share with other people as iron sharpens iron, so they won't have to go through it. So I would recommend pumping if it's your first time. If you're not sure if milk is coming out, get a pump and see if it's actually milk is coming out of your nipple or breast.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good. And like I said, it's different for everyone. Everyone's experience is different. And like you said, it's okay. It doesn't make you less of a person, less of a woman, or less of a man. It doesn't. It's all about, you can try, because I know for myself, it was a couple of months and it wasn't happening no more, but thank you so much for sharing such intimate details about your experience. Now let's switch here over to postpartum. Postpartum is real. It's very, very real. And, and sadly, I must say, I didn't really understand that when my daughter, I didn't understand it when I had a child, but I really did not understand it when my daughter had children. I actually blew it off. I really did. But it's real. Talk to us about your process of postpartum from a woman's perspective as well as from a man's perspective.
Well, I think regardless of whatever path you are on, it's very, very hard. It feels very, very lonely. And there's a bunch of not only physical, but emotional factors going on in your brain and in your body that doesn't allow you to completely process what's going on. And the immediacy of having a baby needing you so much doesn't let you focus on yourself at all. So it was extremely hard for me because, the problems with the baby not feeding also didn't let me sleep. So I was sleep deprived, sad because I didn't know what's going on with my baby. And I was just, my mind was all over the place. But, what I can say is that eventually it shall pass. It all passed. One day you wake up, you'll be like, oh, I had a good night's sleep. And then it goes from there. You get to see the light again. You just gotta push through and obviously rely on the Father. And like I always say, in all things, just come as you are to the Father. Be real with Him. Like, Father, I am mad. I am angry. I am lonely. I am resentful. And He will, He will help you out. Don't be, a hypocrite and be like, oh yeah, praise the Father. Yeah, this is such a blessing, when you're feeling like, but I don't know what's going on. I'm not happy. I'm not feeling blessed right now. I feel like you're not hearing me.
Yeah.
And just be honest. That's what I did. And every time I was feeling down, I just came to Him in all honesty, like raw. Like, this is what's going on with me. And it was, I want to say 3 months that was like, they were like hard, but after that it was just, it went away. And you can enjoy being
Wow.
a parent.
Yeah. Wow. So during that time, Joseph, how did you support Francia during that period?
How did I support her, man? Looking back at it now, it feels like I didn't support her enough. It's interesting because as a man, you know, we kind of did our part already. So we just, all we can do is support, you know. You women have it the hardest with the labor. You're the one putting in the work, right? We kind of just there, rub your back, you know, give you some coconut water, oranges, whatever. So I don't know. For me, it was the opposite. I feel so in tune with Abba. I was trying to just pray for her because I know she was going through it physically, spiritually. She felt detached from the Father. You know, she just was a ball of emotions, and like everyone affects differently. So I just try to, you know, give her whatever she'd ask for, you know, whatever food or whatever. Obviously, pray, and it's amazing because for the men, pregnancy doesn't really affect us and until the actual baby's there, if that makes sense, especially the first one.
Right.
Now it's a little different, you know, but I felt the closest ever to the Father, the first, because I was on paternity leave, I was reading scriptures, and I felt amazing. And Francia felt almost like jealous of me. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Having this connection with the Father. And I was just trying to pray for her, you know, so to speak, wash her with the word. You know what I mean? The way we're commanded to do so, be a good cover, a head covering. Right. And even now, you know what I'm saying? It's just part of marriage, you know? So nothing specifically for postpartum per se, but just always to be there spiritually maturing and just showing her, you know what I'm saying? Like she said, like, we'll be fine. You know, he won't give us anything that we cannot endure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Have faith. A mustard seed will be fine. You know, Abba will take care of everything.
Yeah. And
if there's anything that we lack, you know, show us so we can, you know, correct or you know, worship him in spirit and truth. It's as simple as that. So obviously the women are affected much more. I was just there trying to support her any which way possible. And, you know, we're here now with baby number 2. So round 2 is coming up soon.
Right. And since you said, you know, round 2 is coming up, what will you do differently? This question is for both of you all, individually or together. What would you do differently?
Can I take this?
Right, Justin said, I'm going to take this one.
So I don't know if you guys knew this, but she actually kicked me out of the bathroom right before the baby came. And I respected it just simply because whatever you want at that given moment, I'm going to give it to you because this is your time to shine. You know, I have nothing to do with it. I did my part already, you know? So she wanted to feel alone. She wanted to feel silence, you know, peace, darkness. And I was, not that I was antagonized or anything, but I was just, all right, no problem. So I was right on the other side of the door. You know, just in case you needed anything, I'm right there. You know, I was just waiting, praying. And I guess the one thing differently, I actually want to see, you know, the child come out.
Okay.
But again, just whatever our, you know, directs us to. If she wants to kick me out this time again, so be it. Whatever she needs. But I was right on the other side of the door waiting. She called me. I came through. I picked the baby up and I gave it to her. Not even looking down. I will look down this time for sure. That's the only thing different, I would say, for me at least.
Okay. What about you, Francia?
I honestly don't know. It was as you know, when you have a child, and this can all mothers can be witness. You just, the moment until you have them is a blur. So I there's a lot of things that he told me that happened that I can't remember.
Wow.
But I do remember feeling the need of just being alone, focusing, and being in the dark. And then actually, you know, even though we're spiritual beings, we're also mammals. And it's known for mammals to go into a secret place, a secret, you know, dark place to give birth. So I felt more comfortable like that. It was just how I felt in that moment. And like I say, it's unpredictable this time. I just gonna like I did last time, just give control to the Father and let him guide me. But in an emotional aspect, I think we are both more mature.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I want to add as a wife is that, and it's going to sound weird for a lot of people, but we can never understand each other. A man is wired differently than a woman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways that we cannot relate. What we need to strive for is being there for each other and complement each other, even in our differences.
Yeah.
So that's something that I understood. I want him to understand so bad what I was going through, but a man cannot understand what breastfeeding is,
right.
what, having prenatal tear is,
Right.
the after pains are, contractions. They are not going to be able to understand. And it's okay. And we need to be okay with that. They go through their own turmoil, and sometimes I know for a fact that I think it's a thing for most women. We sometimes diminish the emotions of the man, thinking that they're not going through this pain, they have it all figured out, but they go through a lot of stress that they have a hard time expressing. So I think in that matter, we just need to be more understanding with each other, supportive to each other, and knowing that even though we cannot relate on a physical aspect or an emotional aspect, because we are the same species but different beings, and that's how Abba wanted us to be different, so we can learn and be set apart.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know, Joseph, you shared what you want to see different if possible. Anything from a man's perspective, share with us. We can't look, we are not men, and so only you can share with us that postpartum process you had to go through, silently, vocally. This is your moment to share with other men so that they know.
Just be as supportive as possible, just because they're a ball of emotions. Women are always a ball of emotions, but that time specifically, they're going through it. So just be there any which way possible. Let them vent, let them have their silence, don't necessarily force anything. It's just a time of recovery, literally, even in terms of intimacy, if it's a boy 40 days, a woman 80 days, it's scientifically, is that the word? Biologically, they're recovering. Women are recovering.
But just talking about you, how do you deal with your postpartum?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In terms of
how do you process? Exactly, not about me.
Yeah, so in terms of supporting you, because for me, it wasn't really a change. I wasn't going through hormones. I wasn't really. I was on paternity leave, reading my scriptures and just loving life while she was there miserable. So I was like, man, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? So my recommendation to the fellas, you know what I'm saying, just be as supportive as you can.
Okay.
If you can change a diaper, if you can, feed the child, I'll never forget this. For hours at a time, I was holding Eliana outside just so she can sleep, because she wouldn't really get much sleep. Looking back at it now, we know it's because she wasn't really being fed the first couple, some odd time. But even then, in ignorance, we didn't know. I would just hold her for hours at a time outside so she can sleep inside. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that go a long way, because they're recovering, they need rest. Any which way you can help, quote unquote, think outside the box to support your woman to be healed, because it is a healing process. In terms of me postpartum, that's the only thing I can say to the fellas.
Okay, awesome. And like we said, it's different for different people. And so you know, sounds like you had a smooth process of that,
That
and
was
so
amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that's beautiful, beautiful. So let's talk about, so we don't know the sex of the baby, but when we talk about having a boy, then you have the circumcision that comes forth, that, decisions have to be made. What have you all spoke about from that perspective? What will you do?
So we have different options per se. Obviously, day number 8, snip snip. Home
Okay.
birth, we don't have to give a vitamin K shot. We don't have to go through what the world tells you to do. So one of our options, we actually have, where we are currently, a brother who he's licensed and he's Torah, so he actually he does circumcision, so that's an option. Then we have another family who's doing that as well. We even have some people tell us we can do it ourselves. I'm not gonna lie, I probably don't feel comfortable doing that just yet. So to each his own, right? Wherever you are in your walk, if you feel comfortable doing it, so be it. I personally think we're gonna go with the licensed professional who's Torah, but we'll still keep that in prayer. Yeah. So we're probably gonna go that route. Praise God that we have someone close that's licensed and does that.
Okay, sounds great. With medicine or without?
Natural. You mean anesthesia?
Well, with the baby, giving the baby something for pain through the process, or all natural?
So what we in our research that we did, there's actual 2 different types of circumcision, which is very interesting.
Okay.
So there is what the world does, whatever you call it, Judaism or Babylon circumcision, whatever the case is, where they take a big chunk of the skin and they cut it. Where in biblical times, they didn't have all these, whatever surgical utensils, whatever you want to call it. They would take a little bit of the skin and slice it with a stone, with like a sharp rock. So that's pretty much what it is a slight incision. So we don't need to cut off a whole bunch of skin, right?
Okay.
That's one thing that I learned. Very, very interesting. Where was I going with this? I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I forgot the train of thought. Sorry. Oh yeah, so there's not necessarily much medicine needed. Obviously the baby will cry, but I mean, rather to do it then on the 8th day we're commanded to, as opposed to doing it at as a grown adult, which is a whole different conversation in itself. But not much medicine should be needed if you do it the right way.
Okay. Sounds great. Sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing that information. So we've had the baby. Now it's time to register. What's the registration process in your state?
Well, once we have the baby, we can go, and this is for like general knowledge. You can go and get a wellness check, and they will give you, I don't know how it works in all states, so everybody has to do their own research depending on where they live, but they will give you some proof of birth. I will advise people to take pictures just in case they want to go through the process of registering their baby in the future, or whatever it looks like. That's also a personal decision. Okay, so sounds great. Yeah, and it's different, like you said, different states, and so really understanding that. It sounds like you've done your homework from that vantage point, so so we can register the baby for the state. So looking back at the entire experience with your daughter, and through the journey thus far with your newest baby on the way, if you had to do anything differently or anything again, what would you do differently? Any one thing? This one thing I would want to make sure I do differently.
I don't know.
Honestly, I haven't thought about that. The thing is that we were living in another place back
Okay.
then, so it was a little bit more uncomfortable in that place,
Okay.
and it's more comfortable here. So the experience is gonna be different either way. So I'm just looking forward to see how it looks like here, how it's
Okay.
gonna happen here. Um, like again, what I'm trying to do differently is just be more nurtured and be more relaxed
Yeah.
with the whole experience and not freaked out. And because it does happen, is even
Yeah.
though I'm more confident, sometimes it just strikes me like, oh, it's gonna be two babies, because my baby isn't even a 2-year-old, and she still doesn't talk. She needs diaper change, so it's double diaper change.
She talks. We just don't understand her.
You just don't understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a new challenge, and it's gonna be different regardless. So I really cannot pinpoint something.
Okay.
Yeah. Same. I wouldn't say anything different in terms of the birth, but just after making sure that the baby's fed. So we'll be prepared, much better prepared this time around.
And also mom.
Good.
I will say, like, to the husbands, please make sure that your wife is being fed as well, because it is important to be eating as much as you can and eating good food while you're recovering for at least the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Those are crucial weeks for you to be able to heal properly.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And then Joseph, I know you will look down at your baby. You will take a look.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
100%. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for taking out time to visit with us today. And as we talked about, you are due in a couple of weeks. And so down the road, once everything is comfortable and you all have acclimated to the new edition, we want you to come back and give us the latter half of the birthing process and how that went, because we want people to have the full story. And so we encourage you to do that. Is there anything that you have not spoken that you said, Marcia, we want to tell people about this or that? If there is, please share with us.
Well, I just want to remind people again to just educate themselves, especially women. Just know what's going on with you, know how pregnancy works, know how the process of childbirth is we gotta, I always say this jokingly, but it's true, we gotta get rid of the jockey mindset, because a lot of things that you're gonna see are not pleasant, but it's what your body is meant to do. It's what the Father wants you to do. So even though you go whatever route, please know what's going on in your body, know what the process of birth is like, and how can you improve it. Learn how to listen to your own body when you're giving birth. Your body's going to guide you to the position where the baby's going to be being born. And just get in tune, first of all, with the Father, and then with the role that He gave you. He made us to be able to give birth. So let's get away with the lies of, your baby's too big, it doesn't fit the birth, it doesn't fits the birth canal. That's, C-sections are not as necessary as they make it seem to be. Don't let all these interventions, all these things hinder your most beautiful time of your life. So it's just important for women, and I cannot stress this enough, to please research. Home birth is not for everybody, but birth, it is for all women. I believe that Abba just gave us the command to be fruitful and multiply. But like, we follow Torah because we believe in the Father. Faith without works is dead. So you have the faith that the Father is going to bring forth a healthy baby. Please do the works and just read.
Absolutely. Anything to add?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was glitching there. Yeah, she hit it right on the money. We are clearly 100% home birth, pro home birth. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be on here, right? That being said, pray. You know, we don't want to sound discouraging, but like you said, home birth isn't for everyone. Faith without works is dead. So you can have all the faith in the world. If you don't want to do your research and to, do your due diligence and do what needs to be done, some people are led to go to the hospital. Some people, get a midwife. Some people go to home birthing centers or whatever the case is. We have a couple brothers and sisters who just had home births. We had a sister who gave birth at a hospital for medical reasons. She couldn't have a home birth. So it really just varies on the person. So do your research, right? Pray to the Father and let him lead you. Don't just have a home birth just because other people are doing it. And then, yeah, forbid there's a loss, right? So just be well educated and be led by the Father, by the Lord.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And before we go, want to bring in Eliana, bring her in the frame.
Give me one second.
Okay, go get her so we can see the fruit of the first home birth. And then again, we will have you all back and see the completion. I'm looking forward to it. And definitely we are praying for you all through the process, just the beautiful intimacy that you'll
Thank
have.
you.
Yeah.
Here she comes.
Here she comes. All right.
Can you see it?
Yes. She's like, did you wake her up? Because she
like, always looks like she just woke up.
Say hi.
Say hi.
She is gorgeous. We're gonna snap a picture, take a picture of the screen. And so we'll make sure we get both of y'all in the frame. Yeah. Oh, she said, wait a minute, my hair. All right. Oh, that was a good one. We thank you for this family. We thank you for them. And as we come back together in a few months down the road, we look forward to hearing the completion of what you have done. In the name of your Son, we pray. Hallelujah.
Amen. Beautiful, sister. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Well, thank you. You are so pretty. I see. I'm talking to you. Look at those cheeks. I see them big old chubby cheeks. Oh, hi.
We hope this episode was an inspiration to you. Thank you again to Brother Joseph, Sister Francia, and Sister Eliana. Also, welcome to baby Joseph Jr. A huge thank you as well to our hostess with the mostest, Sister Marcia. We invite you to join us in the next episode of this home birth series. Shalom.